As a reminder, our meetings are all recorded. So to prevent crosstalk, please hold personal comments until we get to public comments. All right, let's start.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next up is approval of prior meeting minutes.
I think there needs to just be
have an
amendment.
So,
Amendment to the meeting. Amendment to the minutes.
so grab one of these, please. Okay.
Yes, yep.
Instead of every 6 months, it should just be 2 payments.
2 payments,
So
correct.
for under tax billing, so it was just written a little wonky, that's all. So in our current minutes, it says there was a discussion on what would be involved to switch the tax billing schedule. Norm Bamford moved to split up taxes for citizens of the town of Sullivan from yearly billing to every 6 months. But what it should mean or say is we are still only getting one tax bill. It's just split. We're not getting billed full payments twice,
Right.
because that
Two
confused some of the,
It'll be 2 payments.
yes, it confused people.
Before, I'm gonna get taxed twice.
Twice. Full amount.
Are we high enough?
Right.
Okay, so. What did it say? Okay. The town is going from yearly billing to
2 payments
yearly.
yearly.
Of one tax bill split into,
Definitely be.
Yeah.
Making sure it's
one bill.
up in tax bill, it's split up into 2.
Yeah.
Installments.
Installment, that's. the right-
Installments, there's a good
2
word.
installments.
2
One tax bill,
installments.
2 installments. Yeah, we
So
found,
it'll be yearly from yearly to. One tax bill was split into 2 installments.
yes.
That's it.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me try to read it right.
And it looks like, tax bills will be put on December 6th.
Where does it say that?
Okay.
Oh, on the new one.
Mhm.
Plan to print the tax bills on December 6th.
Mhm.
And we'll have 2 due dates. First half of your tax bill will be due in early March, the second half of your bill will be due in early June. Does that still stand?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the as of today notification.
Bills will only be mailed once, but the bottom of the tax bill will have 2 tear off sections with the corresponding dates and amounts. You may pay your full amount due at any time before the first due date without any interest applied.
Okay.
The other question people had was, can they still be a part of an 8-month club?
Yeah, the tax club is still a thing.
We will make people aware that the tax fund is still a thing as well,
Yeah, we should put that in a little note there.
It's in the bar.
It's in the car.
or with their bill when we send it, because not everyone reads
They will.
that. Okay.
Better and
Yeah.
easy ways to pay your taxes.
Yeah. Oh, we have found that most towns split it up into 2 payments,
Really?
so yeah, I think that's.
So the motion is to approve the minutes of the adjustment.
I don't know if Greg has had a chance to read the minutes.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes with the adjustment of the two payments.
Second,
All in favor? Okay, the treasurer's warrant.
can we? Yeah, I see.
I looked it over, I thought it was okay. Any questions on the treasurer's warrant? Okay, I make a motion to accept the treasurer's warrant
That's right.
as written.
Second,
All in favor? Adjustments to the agenda?
we have one to add, executive session. MRSA 4056F.
Okay, I make a motion to make that adjustment. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? So adjusted?
So that's a,
Session of
concealed
confidential.
Yes. Okay, moving on to new business. Background checks for town employees.
So I put this on here because it came to my attention that, we don't do background checks for new employees, and that kind of just made me a little nervous. Not that we all don't know each other in this town, but someone could come from away and we know nothing about the person or what have you. So yeah, it came about when the select board people were out and about. And
I think it's a valid point. The only thing is that if they're elected, I don't know what we could do about it. Even if the background check came back negative.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think we have to find out about what in regular and part-time, full-time employees. Valid.
Yeah,
I don't know how it applies
elected
to elected
official.
officials.
so we need to just find out from MMA about,
I think it's smart.
me too.
I do. Yeah.
I'll ask. I'll ask for,
Maybe a background check when they.
When they
Yeah,
apply,
when
I'll
they
ask first how and if it does apply to elected officials.
yeah,
Then I wonder if we should have an ordinance, but
right, and if it has to be written in an ordinance, etc.
exactly.
Well, because there's also, ordinance that can be out there for the other towns have that we do not have, which this would kind of almost go in. Removal of an official,
Mhm.
and that could be for any crime against the town. You know,
So do we have an ordinance right now that says we may remove an official for a crime against the town? No, we don't.
Nope.
You don't? How has this not come up in 200 years?
I don't understand.
so that is, I do have a structure for that. So I can see where we get the answer on this, we can see how it fits in the structure of that,
Mhm.
and wrap it all together.
So right now, if a town employee,
We can also find out the costs.
yeah, if a town employee did something.
It's on the registry or,
We could not remove them? Could we remove them by petition?
Like what type of employee?
Like, if I committed a crime against the town? I don't know what I would do.
So if you were embezzling from the town.
Yeah, or you, or someone in the office, we
Mhm.
can't remove you?
I think we are easier, and because that's clear and concise, than you guys.
you know,
There's different stuff for you guys.
Alright,
Right now, I think there's only like a really heavy egregious thing that has to happen, you know, for removal of a select board member, because that's the basic.
yeah.
You have to add in the other language, which you can do. But I think let's find out about the, let's find out about background checks. Let's see how it fits into all that,
yeah,
and see if we can make it all jump.
yeah, it definitely seems like something we need to look into. All right, so Ray's gonna look into that. I'm sure the minutes reflect that. Adrian. You go ahead and sign into it. All right, next up, we have a letter from Senator Moore, who was actually here.
Those are the ones we received, yes?
Yep.
Yes. I don't know if Greg got one.
No, it's just you should have governor one point there, so you can have, kick that down, that's mine. I see it as well.
So if Senator Moore would like to speak on this letter,
I can
I give
speak
you
on
the
that. Thank you, I appreciate that. And in fact, my constituent is actually on Zoom tonight that had reached out to me about it. And what my understanding is I guess there's some serious nuisance being experienced that is related to the Tidal Falls Preserve in Hancock, and kind of Sullivan is in that area there. And what I understand is that several of the outfitter companies actually bring hunters to the ledge that is between Hancock and Sullivan, and which is owned by the state, to shoot the eider ducks, is that how to pronounce it? And the constant gunfire often lasts from sunup to noon, is what I'm understanding. And it's very close to these constituents' homes. In fact, I think Tracy's house has actually been shot at one point in time. And of course, the sound transmits better on water, and the shots seem to be even louder than they are. So I guess there was a lot of question we were looking into. The town themselves can set an ordinance, I guess is what we would call it. And that can actually prohibit it. I don't know whether it be between hours, between a certain time of the day, whatever it might be. And so that's why we wanted to bring it to your attention. We did check with MMA to see if that is something that the town can do. And they assure us that you have the right to enact an ordinance regulating the discharge of firearms within your borders, whether it's state-owned property or not. So that is one of the things I think that my constituents were asking for consideration, because it has become a nuisance. And what was a nice, peaceful area, all of a sudden they're dealing with the shot, the noises of the shotguns and so forth being shot.
where exactly is this, are we talking about like that little island where the reversing falls is? What are we talking about?
And this is my legislative aide, Eliza Woodcock, and she's actually been talking directly with Tracy, so she might be able to expound on that a little bit better than myself.
That's my understanding, like where Frenchman Bay Conservancy is, and where the restaurant used to be, the Tidal Falls Restaurant.
Mhm.
I think that's basically the general area.
So on the Hancock side?
Yeah.
Falls.
Yeah.
Actually, it's on the whole area.
But is anybody shooting from the private property?
No, they're out in boats. They
Out
put
in
in a
boats.
Sullivan Town ramp.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, they do
Can
it
you hear
every.
me? Is it possible? Can I speak
Yes.
just for a moment? Okay, great. My name's Tracy. I live right on the banks of Tidal Falls. And so, yes, it is that rock ledge. And so and the town line, it's half Hancock, half Sullivan. Done a lot of research about it. But what happens is before sunrise, these boats come up and they distribute 6 to 8 hunters, and they're there most often all day long, 6, 7, 8 hours that they're shooting in just one particular area. And we happen to live right there. And so it has happened where our house has been shot before, duck shot has rained down on our house. And it's really created kind of a really kind of a terrible situation, when they're out there and they're out there all day long, and we just have to kind of grin and bear it. And it's all of the neighbors. So the location is, if you're coming across the Sullivan Bridge and you turn on East Side Road and then you turn on Martin, Harborview Drive is right down there, and we get really up close. We're one street away from Tidal Falls Road. And then, so anyways, it's just become kind of an untenable situation, and we're looking for some relief, and this has been going on for years. I know we've got couple of neighbors that have attended the meeting, and it's not just me, it's all of us.
Yeah, that little island's not owned by the Conservancy?
I don't
It's not.
believe it. No.
It's owned by
Huh.
which town?
So it's just owned by the state.
It is owned by the state, right?
That is a weird situation we find ourselves in. No,
So the only part Sullivan has in it is them using our boat landing to come down. What is Sullivan's part?
They own half the rock ledge. Or it's not own it, but the state owns it, but it comes
That
right
goes-
through the middle, the town line.
That's what's,
About 300 feet, they can shoot from the dwelling.
300 feet from a dwelling, 300 feet from a park.
Well, 300 feet from.
So if they're in a boat, they have to be 300 feet away from a house. And are you saying do you think they're closer than that 300 feet?
They are not closer. We've had a warden out to measure it, and it is legally within the limits of the distance. However, what they are supposed to be doing is shooting either up bay or down bay, but they're shooting across the bay, and it's actually the duck shot is hitting our houses, and they shouldn't be doing that, but that's up to the outfitters to control their groups. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's unsafe. It's also, I mean, having to, listen to gunshots for 7, 8 hours of the day, if you can imagine that, it's a lot, I mean, it's one thing I am not an hunter person at all. This is just about quality of life. And I like duck and I like venison and have no problem with that. But it's different when it's like you're living there right next to it. And when they drop their clients there and you never know when it's going to happen, your day changes in an instant.
Yeah. Okay, it was definitely something for us to take into advisement. A lot that I've got to learn about our legal limits, this kind of thing, and definitely
How it all works.
would love to talk more to the state about that island, like it doesn't seem like it. Things can be just
The other-
shot.
May I make a comment?
This is Captain Goder.
Sorry.
Go ahead, who are you?
Oh, yes, thank you. The other issue that I find with the hunters, I'm not anti either, but they seem to be what I would call herding the eiders. So they've got a boat that will run up above the falls when the eiders aren't down. So there's all this boat action along with the gunshots as well. I guess that's probably more a fish and wildlife issue, but it certainly is. We've been witnessing it every year.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, what other middle people can we speak to? Like, you said you spoke to like a warden or something.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I submitted a report. It was actually distributed and submitted to the district attorney's office because I gave them the rounds that I collected on our property. They went out to the island, and all of this is in a report. They went out to the island and got samples of the hunter's rounds, and just going through the process of like, how do we prevent this from happening, and went down that path. But the DA's office said they weren't going to pursue that. So that's as far as we got with it. I really feel like it's really just it's an issue that we need, we're looking at to create an ordinance to be able to not disallow firearms from engaging in that particular area because it is so close to homes. And if it was just 1 or 2 shots or 1 or 2 hours, okay, maybe we could live with that. But 6, 7, 8 hours at a time, 3 days in a row in a week, it really adds up. And we've done a little, Eliza and Senator Moore have done some checking on laws, and there is a law that states that local municipalities are allowed to be able to pass an ordinance on state-owned land. And with it pertaining to particularly, I guess, with gunshots, right, Eliza, that they could prevent that from allowing to happen, I guess.
The warden I spoke with was Eric Rudolph, and this was his suggestion to fix it. Was a local ordinance.
Okay, well, we're going through all of our ordinances right now. We're rewriting a lot of it. And we're going through the comprehensive plan process right now. In fact, one of our planning board members is here in the audience tonight, so I definitely appreciate this. This is something I had no idea was a thing. No idea.
No one's ever complained.
Yeah.
Norma, just one other thing I just wanted to share. One of the things MMA did tell us too was that it kind of interrelated but not specific to the time of discharge. It is unlawful, as we said, to discharge a firearm or muzzleloader or cause a projectile to pass as a result of that discharge within the 300 feet of the building without permission from the owner or in the owner's absence, an adult occupant who dwells in that building.
Mhm.
And it does say the provision also applies to state-owned boat launches that are posted accordingly.
Mhm.
So just throw that out as additional
But I'm worrying
information.
about floating on the water. Like
Yeah.
that's the part I'm unclear about. Like,
Right, so they're not shooting from our land to,
right, they're shooting from the water and they could be on Hancock's side or our
Or
side.
you're saying that's right, the ledge is on, it's right down the middle there.
have you spoken to Hancock about this as well?
We have, and their response was that it was a state issue because it was state land.
Mhm,
So we have gotten back to them with our ruling from MMA.
mhm,
So we haven't had any further conversation. The selectmen did review that last month,
mhm.
and that was their response. It needed to go back to the state. Well, the
Mhm.
state doesn't have the control of being able to do that. It would be a town ordinance.
Right,
Even
as
though-
far as like gunshots and stuff, but could this, if that island is no hunting?
I think they could, people are anxious about the whole slippery slope thing. If you do it here, you have to do it.
Or they could donate it to the Conservancy and then it's,
Well, and see what,
Conservancy.
like she's saying though, is that if we do it here, then are we gonna have other islands that are gonna, it would start a snowball effect probably for other locations.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're hesitant to do anything on a state level because we'd have to do it statewide.
yeah.
We wouldn't be able to do it for just one specific location, is my
And
understanding.
for that reason,
could,
but
but-
perhaps they could, since it's simply a ledge, not a real island, that they could donate it to the Conservancy as part of their, like, and then bypass this whole thing. Without saying it's because of the duck hunting, without
Yeah.
saying it's because of no hunting, it's just, oh, since you have your Conservancy right there, we're just gonna donate this piece.
It's a really good
Yeah.
idea.
That may not prevent the hunting all total. I do know that my wife's actually on the board of the Frenchman's Bay Conservancy, and I know some of their properties, I believe, I couldn't check, but I do believe that some of them, they allow hunting in some areas. So that particular island may not fall into that. I don't know. But I can look into it and get back to people.
But they're not hunting off the island, they're hunting.
They're
around.
actually hunting on the island. They're actually not hunting on the boats, I don't think.
No,
Oh,
they do.
They do sit on the island?
Yes, they sit on the island and hunt from the island, but not from the boats. At least in my observation, the boaters are basically picking up the ducks that have been hit by the hunters.
That's right. I've got a direct view, so I can see exactly what they're
So do
doing.
I.
Yeah.
Yes, we all do. I think Peter and Ruth have one as well.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
I appreciate you bringing this, but it's like, we had no clue. Like, first thing we got was the letter and I was like, that's
I was like,
Hancock.
I
That's
don't
not us.
get
I
it.
don't know what you're talking about. So,
Well,
Thanks
and
for listening to us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
the consideration of the request, and you see the concern.
Yeah.
Of the people.
So can the towns, 2 towns, put a no hunting sign on the island?
it's the state's island.
Oh, state owns the island?
Yeah, that's why I was saying give the island to the Conservancy and then the Conservancy can say,
Or
no
they
hunting.
talk to the hunters and just,
So this hunting thing, these guys, this is like, you have to hire these guys to take you out there. So it's a commercial affair. And
Yeah,
so they
they're-
must have to get at least a permit to take the people out, I would imagine. I'm not sure what their restrictions would be as to where they can go or not.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we need to
That's a
find
good
out
point.
who is the,
Yeah, do we know the name of the,
of the company?
There's more than.
When it was I'm sorry, when it was investigated by who was it investigated by? I forget now. The Rangers came out, yeah. Anyways, they would have that copy. They'd know all that information. You can get that.
I know at least one is called Gold Coast Outfitters. but I'm pretty sure there's more than just.
Yeah, there's one, they're really not local, they drive down, there's one in Penobscot. And then there's Bold Coast, which I think is farther up near Machias, but I don't think that they're not from around here.
Which
I think
probably shouldn't
it's-
really make that much difference, right? I mean, we really don't, we're really trying to keep buckshot off our houses is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it does, right.
It really doesn't matter who.
Company, that, I think that would,
Right. First,
yeah.
no,
Mhm.
Old Coast Outfitters, guided sea duck hunts in down East Maine.
Yeah, okay, so these people do it in other places as well,
Actually,
sure.
and there has been no complaints about them in other places, or?
This was
I don't know where
yeah,
they, go ahead.
Yeah,
They're from down east, right?
yeah, Marshfield.
Marshfield. And so I guess they do this in multiple places. Ray's looking it up right now.
Yep.
So,
I've actually reached out to Bold Coast myself. I don't think it's Bold Coast. I spoke to the owner of Bold Coast and if that Bold Coast is up in Machias, he doesn't come this far south. I want to say it's another company. It might be Penobscot Hunters but I don't believe it's Bold Coast.
but it's in your police report or what have you?
No, it's not. I don't, I guess
No,
I
it's
didn't know
not.
who it was at that point. But if you
But they
Google
would,
it,
right?
there's really not that many. There's only like 2 or 3 around that are doing commercial type, duck hunts. There's not many.
I can go talk to
Googling
them,
them.
because I know I've talked to them before, because I can't take right next door.
Yeah,
And they seem like a good bunch of people and, I'm sure they're easy to work.
and you might just tell them, Greg, that you're getting complaints about it, and see if they would be willing to do that.
Another
Save
spot.
us a lot of tape and.
Yeah.
Right.
them and us.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
could not even be aware that that's a part right there.
Possibly not, but, I'm sure they're accommodating that
Yeah.
they're using that ramp and
Mhm.
it's the only way to get in there.
We could threaten to close the ramp, no.
We have to give them to use it, so,
Yeah,
we could. We could not give them a permit,
Withhold.
Mhm.
or have, clear understanding of what they need to be careful about and where they're shooting and, to be aware, of what's
It's like they bust up here and then.
No, they house them, they feed them, they do everything. They pay good money to do
It's
it.
like a moose hunt.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's gotta be somebody-
Well, I don't think they're real.
But they're
Within the county.
part of Maine industry.
Mhm.
I mean, I can talk.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that it's bad.
I talked to them before and they seem super nice.
This is not like a one-off thing, like, this is what these people do.
Yeah. That's just a dangerous spot to be.
I think that's a great start, being able to do it. And just one thing too, Dharma, if we were to try to get the state to give the land to the council, it would have to take legislation
Mhm.
because it is state-owned property, so that's a lot of red tape too that has to go.
Yeah, I mean, for us to make an ordinance will take a while as well, so this is not like, there will not be an overnight fix.
But just making everybody aware of it, and I
Yeah.
think the conversation with the company would be perfect.
Right.
To get started.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, even, if they have questions, they can ask Tracy for sure, right, Tracy?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions and, they can see our houses from the ledge, so they know how close they are. And it's, I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that they have and hopefully they would be open, to maybe I don't know, it's hunting elsewhere. It's so close to us.
Down the coast a little.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for sharing.
thank you.
Moving on to old business, the paving of Taunton Drive.
Do it now?
Paving of Taunton Drive.
I got practically northeast, and then get back to the Rings wasn't interested. Northeast, Eaton said about 26,000.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I didn't think that we'd find anybody.
But if we can get Willie. We can shim.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Mhm.
Fraction.
You said that was 20.
26,000 to do 700 feet. Inch shim with an inch cap. And that's just a guesstimate because
Be at that price that we have to, it has to go out to bid at that price.
well, no one else wants to bid on this.
He's
Oh, I know.
checked with 3 companies, so.
No, he's supposed to email, they never did. They told me that Eaton would be cheaper because they're union. Northeast, they. And Rings never even wanted to do anything.
That's what we ran into before. But now, put it out to bid and then nobody replies, somebody replies and then they back out.
So technically, do we have to put this out to bid just to receive?
Unless it's an emergency, and it doesn't fall under emergency status.
Yeah, due diligence, because then if we don't, and then someone says, oh, I would have.
Okay, so at least we have a starting point of,
So 700 feet, 700 feet of one shim, 1 inch cap. Okay, a long time. And you would
I
think
like that.
where to where?
That gives us a.
What about from where to where?
Where we paved at the time
Okay,
to Abby Thomas's drive.
No, I'm getting one. It took you a while.
so we're talking from the very first culvert that was put in the total.
Thank you, Ruth.
Okay, was no question now. It
Yeah.
is-
It was the next
Right.
one.
It's right by
We're
where
gonna
the.
work it.
Ask any,
Okay, so by.
because I'm a neighbor, I'm right away across the
By
ledge.
talk.
Yes,
You know,
That's-
so
that's-
I wanted to comment on the subject, but it's already done, right?
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, because then I can even go take pictures, you know, like, here's the starting point, here's the end point. I think the more we can give people on here at least, the more I can give them here, you know, because we always need to direct them to the internet. So the more I can give them here is the better. Here's your start point, they can go and get a visual and look at it. Oh, here, oh, there. People ask a lot of questions. They out of state, they're actually gonna come here, but they're always trying to gauge what the awards are.
Right.
What it came back at. So just any information is.
Right, and this gives us an idea, because if we get a bid that comes back at
We know.
whatever we don't
100,000,
know.
yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Right,
It's a good starting
$150
point.
a ton, that included flaggers, it included grinding. Joints in the paved driveways and the track road. And I would suggest doing 20 feet down to the Glen's Walk.
No doubt.
So kicking the.
I think it'd be the, they're right there. It
I'm
makes
in
more
agreement.
sense. You know, it wouldn't cost them much to do 20 feet.
So track and wharf. Right,
I think it was like Pumpkinville was the work road that we had, right?
Well,
Or some longer road,
I-
Park Street.
no. Think it was like the old Asheville Road area. That was, what was the spur of that?
Right.
Ramsey, that's it.
Oh, yeah, that one's pretty bad.
And that hasn't been ditched or anything. We're gonna have to decide on that, but Taunton's already been ditched, so it's ready.
Taunton's ready for maintenance going forward.
So, yeah, I know, really didn't like that idea, but I really think that we need to move forward with that project come spring.
It's gonna be all that pavement,
We've got quite a bit.
200, isn't it?
400.
All 400.
Yeah, we keep putting money in it,
Right, we should.
and we keep putting money into it, but then we don't do anything.
We should be paving road every year.
I agree.
But when they were putting $130,000 in only, you couldn't do a whole lot. They got gobbled up really quick on one project that didn't do a whole lot. Putting more into it, you can do the ditch and the pave.
Well, we need to
Yeah,
take
ditching
better
it.
control by ditching and pay, you know, pricing.
Well, think about it. The last time they did the ditching on Taunton, 27 years was the last time. So frequency in between, at least the less frequent you do it, the more it costs you to get up to speed.
Mhm. And then
It's
people
gonna
forget
insult
the process of ditching, and then when it happens, they get very upset. And then everything's finally calmed down on Taunton. Everybody sees it's nice, but
Actually, the next
for
road,
the time. whew.
but the next road that we do that has the same thing.
The
is we
price
just
we
stamp
paid
for it.
for the culverts to do on the driveway culverts was 4,400 to do 18 culverts. That's $4,400 a culvert. And local contractors commented on the average cost $1,200 to replace the driveway culvert, and we paid 4,400.
Mhm. Well, I wish they would have put in a bid.
Well,
At that point, that was
we soured all local
Mhm.
contractors. We need to get a list of what it costs to do a driveway culvert, what it costs to do this and that, so we got something to go by,
Yeah.
rather than giving somebody a blank check.
Mhm. That was a good start. All right, committees, terms of service.
Yeah, that's me. I went through my ordinance book and I found the five committees that need to be updated. I went into the planning board on last Thursday and I got them all together. And I think Dwayne's here to get sworn in.
It's like, we got one here.
We got one here, yeah. I'll go to the next meeting of theirs and get the rest of the sworn in. I want. And in the process, I've emailed the appeals board chair, and I've emailed the cemetery committee chair, so that we could get them up to date too. Anthony, would you please stand up? That's to you, and after the Rachel Brian, and read it aloud. Hold on, let me read it out. I'm gonna have them appointed first.
Get some readers.
Sorry, I
Scratched up.
gotta have them appointed first. Sorry, I have to cut ahead.
Okay, I make a motion to appoint Dwayne Crawford of Sullivan as part of the planning board. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
I don't know the person, so I don't say it.
Right.
You don't know.
Sign it.
I don't?
Could you sign the places for you to sign? On that? The 3 lines.
This to buy the bank.
First half. Every now and then I feel like the bank.
Ah. Raise your right hand and. To me.
We do in accordance with, I do. I, Dwayne Crawford, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state, so long as I shall continue as a citizen thereof, so help me God.
Dwayne, the term is on there.
Yes,
What is it?
What is the
Five,
term?
one?
the term is for, okay, 5 years.
Five?
And it expires on in 28, he expires. The term is November of 28. 2028.
Dwayne just said.
3 years.
Yeah, because I started at 23, right?
Yes, thank you, Dwayne.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So all planning board is the 5 years
Yes.
from the date
Wait,
they
so
started?
the first,
That's the first year.
so this was Dwayne's first go around and that's his first year, we did 1 year.
Yep.
I guess that's to make sure you really want to do this.
Right.
And then afterwards, then you roll into a 5-year term.
Okay, so then, so say this was his first year and we wanted to
So,
have him in here again, then his term would actually be an additional 4 years, not an
No.
additional 5?
no, this is 5.
Yeah, it's kind of how it
So it
reads.
will be 6 altogether.
Yeah. Like Bethany would, if she gets sworn in again next year, another 5 years, Bethany.
Okay, but has she been sworn in this
Yeah.
year?
Did her, you guys did her, you approved,
We approved her last time.
Okay,
swore her in,
for a 1-year term, correct? Yeah. Sorry, thank you.
Sorry.
So that is, sorry, I have more questions. Planning board is 5-year term. What are the other terms for the other committees?
Southern 3, and I think the appeals board is 3, too.
Appeals board was.
And Greg, speaking of appeals board, you're on the appeals board, you can no longer be on the appeals board as a select person. So we need to appoint some, a couple of people to the.
So yeah, that'd be counterintuitive. You'd be like, I said no.
There is.
So going forward, the people that have terms on their committees, they all have to be appointed by us first, or no?
The chair is usually appointed by. You guys approve such, because let's go back to your background check.
Mm.
You guys are approving the membership. So if axe murderer wants to be on the, freestyle committee, you go, oh no.
Yeah.
Well, you put them in order.
So not everyone?
Appeals is 3 years. 3 years and should continue in office until their successors are appointed. So if they continue, because every 3 years, you do the swearing, but it's.
So this time I'm having you guys approve everybody, because they weren't approved before. I don't have the record where they were voted on before.
So that's not normal to approve them?
Right. Just the chair.
It's the chair. But we started with the ones that we have ordinance on.
Yes.
So we're starting with that to make sure we have all the structure. Because when Parks and Rec put themselves in, they said, we're gonna have structure. Good.
Yes.
Everyone's establishing structure.
Yes.
You want to establish here officially who, how long. This way it can always be checked on.
Okay, so who is the head of the planning board?
Graham.
That's what I thought, okay.
Brain.
Question?
Yes.
All right, town manager, town manager.
Instead of 20. Just a couple of things. So one thing that had been brought up by Don Snow last time about property next door, 29 acres,
Yes.
quite undervalued.
This way? Yeah, okay.
That way.
Yeah.
I was wondering
So,
where they got down.
reason why. Tree growth.
Oh, they're in tree growth?
So since they're in tree growth, the property is valued at $4,000. If it was not in tree growth, it'd be $75,000.
4,000
Yeah,
is
it's for sale.
75,000?
But when they sell it, they'll have to take it out. Deep tree growth.
Unless, if you were selling it to me and I say, I'll keep it in tree growth, that's what it stays at.
Right.
Yes, but you're a new buyer, new owner.
Mhm.
You would have to pay his penalty,
Yes,
even though you immediately put it back. Well, I'm not sure.
yeah,
If you immediately put it back in tree growth, maybe that penalty is forgiven, but you would need to check on that.
Yeah, I think I would need to hire a forester. I need to have it, so it needs to be in my name. Everything would need to be legal in my name. As far as the new owner, keeping it in tree growth.
I'm a little confused on that because it seemed like even the state wants its tax, or county wants its tax.
Mhm.
They've been forgiving it with Greg for years and years and years. But when he sells it to you, now they want the taxes. In the future, you get a reduced tax rate,
Mhm.
okay? But I think you'd have to pay the penalty.
I believe you're right.
Yeah, I did when I bought years ago when I bought property.
Yeah.
Pay quite a substantial amount.
Right.
Just for 2 acres.
That's right. Well, and you'd pay less for the 10th and 11th acre.
Right.
But yes, I think, I sold 6 acres 3 or 4 years ago to build my house. And the people who bought the 6 acres had to pay $8,000 because I had owned it for 10, 12 years. Tree growth, 10, 12 years.
Someone buys that, then I'll keep it tree growth.
No, it's actually marketed right now as like a subdivision.
I took a look at all the acreage in town that's not occupied. Not, I live here and I want the back 20 to be, so I looked at all of the land in tree growth in town. And if everybody bailed out tomorrow and the penalty came due, it's like $1.8 million.
Yeah.
Penalty.
We should mention that in this thing.
So, Well, it's all about what you want to do. And this is the thing you bring out, you bring out during the purchasing process, and you bring out certainly in closing.
Definitely.
You have to put all these things out.
Then disclose it to a buyer.
Mhm. Yeah, you should. It's in honest interest to do something like that. But there's a,
But it's really a substantial difference. I have 29 acres on Morancy Pond and Morancy Field Pond. And the annual taxes, since it's in tree growth, that's something like $26.
Yeah.
You can imagine the difference between what the taxes would
well, I
be.
can tell you.
It's really amazing.
Want to know?
I'm gonna find out.
And I
what
put-
mine tree is.
Yeah, you have to, but just prior.
Two of my acres in the tree growth.
It used to cost $4 or $5.
5 acres.
Yeah, well, certainly it's worth it, my God.
Oh, I freaking lost it. Are you kidding me? No. Okay, so the collective unoccupied acres in town are 4,931, which is approximately 25% of the town's acreage.
That are actively in tree growth right now?
Yes,
Tree
unoccupied.
farms.
Yeah.
Technically, that would be a tree growth.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
That's
categories in tree
interesting.
growth. Yes.
Farm and tree growth.
Yeah,
So,
I was wondering, like, a
The,
tree
so
farm
much
that
like,
around that much harder.
much like this piece of property is valued at, assessed at $4,000 because it's in tree growth. These 4,900 acres are assessed at $78,543. If they were out of tree growth, it's $9,232,209.
Wow. Wow.
But this is a structure that's in place at state level. And there we go. It was set up for a whole lot of good reasons. And here it is.
The more you know.
But that's why Don had the question. It was a great thing.
Yeah.
I see this, I see land for sale, I see this tax value. What's going on? There.
It's
No one's doing something they shouldn't be doing. No one's doing something they aren't allowed to do. They're supposed to recertify and maintain it, the whole deal. But that's the truth. That's trigger.
And of course, the basic theory is to promote the growth of trees, right? But sooner or later, they want you to take your gain.
Have a harvest plan.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. And about 3 years ago, we harvested my 30 acres. And they, of course, immediately put back in a new growing plan. But I think it's 15 to 17 years before you get timber that's harvestable again.
So, but that was the initial thing with him. So would I bring that back up? Because she left it an open question.
Yeah.
I also got notification. I'm going to take a look at what we're charging at the transfer station for regular trash. It's got a notification that
Is it $1.50 a bag?
the prices have increased by 2.4%. DMG. So I want to look at what they're charging us per ton, break it back to a bag and see if we're charging the right amount.
Okay.
So
What
just
must
new
we
information
do
that
to
came.
put curbside pickup back on
Yeah.
the ballot?
Let's say you gotta pay,
That's fine.
you're still paying disposal per ton.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of if you paid appropriately curbside pickup, are you paying appropriately now? You would get it either way, but this model that we have today, are we charging what we're being billed for?
Well, I can see
I keep getting
not
asked the
making
question.
money. I mean, we should have a service, even if it costs the town a little bit of money, but we
A little
can't,
bit's so fine.
we can't
If it's
expect
double
to
the
make
cost or
money
triple the
break
cost.
even. You know, we need to, it costs us 5,000 a year.
Yeah, we'll get, I want to find out
This town needs.
Where are we at?
services. I mean,
Yeah, we have
we're nothing.
kind of where we're at with it. You know, are we way off? Are we close? Close we can deal with. Close is a service you're providing as a community.
Right.
Way off, you start rethinking stuff. So I'm gonna use their new numbers to find out where we're at.
I would
Okay.
work with Bethany myself. And we'll do this curbside.
So
Again.
little note for the road commissioner. Got notification that there are several poplar leaning into the road on Grange Hall Road by Vern Campbell's house. they are leaning in there. Matter of fact, a while back, we had asked. Huh? You what?
That's not very popular.
It's not very popular. They're not popular trees. When we were looking at getting the work done on Grange Hall, and I think at the time Jason Tracy had said he was available to do that work. He had said, well, and part of what I do, well, we'll get rid of these things too. Then he wasn't able to do the work. He pulled that, but work was subsequently done by a different contractor. Trees is still here.
Mhm.
We don't have any place to put said trees. That's not, we don't do burn pile anymore. That costs us at the state level. So we have to dispose of them.
Well, I asked Willie to get a grinding head for his excavator.
Yeah, he said he wants to do something like
He
that.
said he was gonna, he ordered it. He's got one on his excavator. You know, Trevor did it and, you know, that's, cats me out.
That's good for all the branches and the brush and the sort of.
Take down an 8-inch tree.
Yeah, so these are, I think it's 3 that are just totally arcing over. He says they're getting low enough now, but they're hitting a UPS truck.
So I'll get out and look at
So
it.
taking a park is one thing, hitting a UPS truck is a decently heighted truck.
Now,
You hitting the roof on that.
can I cut and chip them? And get paid, or is it gotta be,
No, it's not a, hey,
I mean, I'm not gonna go do it for nothing, but I'm.
That's the thing, how does that work? Is-
being a road commissioner.
Yeah, it has to work with the board member
Yeah.
doing that. Would someone take exception?
I could loan you half a dozen beaver.
Yeah.
Half a dozen beaver?
They're raising our land all the time.
Can you pen them for a while and you can put them right in front of
There you
them?
go.
They'll find their way back to where they belong, like squirrels.
What could we pay him as an independent?
I'm not,
Now could be on the board.
yeah, I'm not sure that we can, that
Well, if you
would be an exception.
put it out for a bid and he ended up with the job, that wouldn't be a problem, would it?
He couldn't participate in the award of the bid,
Right,
but
But he could, his bid could win.
right.
That wouldn't be a problem.
This is not a big.
If I did it for nothing.
bless you. He stopped it, no one ever says anything. I'm always thinking about the person that comes after and goes, "Oh."
Go look at it.
So to tell you, if I had to chip it myself, they'd be gone.
So, I mean, I can make a motion that the road commissioner goes out, takes the scope of the project and
We'll post back at next meeting.
reports back in next meeting.
I mean, I'm gonna be moving my chip in the next few days, I mean. You know, I wouldn't even, I'd just get down there, if it's something I can do in a
Yeah,
half hour, I'd do it.
I mean, my dream thing is to have a big old chipper. If I had that dream, these trees would be long gone.
I'll set you up, right in business.
let's talk to the budget committee, maybe we can get a chipper put in the
Those are
budget.
like, let's see, what do those chippers cost? Used about $30,000, the big ones?
Well, if
The
you
big
buy,
brown ones?
if you buy my tractor and chipper, you don't gotta worry about
Uh-huh.
Did that motion get seconded?
Not yet,
Okay.
So you are asking road commissioner to
Go
look
take a
at the
look.
trees and report back at
Yeah.
the next meeting.
and if it can be done quickly and without expense, then I give you authority to do it.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
There you go. Other than that, I have something I'll have to figure out, to address. So there had been. So one of the committees that they're having a question on, which why wasn't something done with this at town meeting? Budget committee.
Mhm.
There had been a draft policy put in, but never approved for budget committee. Terms, this, that, membership, the whole thing was never gone through. So look at that. With that comes Mr. Gary Edwards' resignation as chair of said committee. So he officially let us know, which is perfect because the timing is right to get all this in motion. And since we're gonna have to do something,
Perfect for timing, but we did like it.
We do.
Yeah.
yeah, Gary, I'm trying to, he's the man of, he made up a few hats. He has a couple of hats that he's going.
Mhm.
Trying to shed them down to like maybe 3 hats.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are for fun.
Mhm.
So that falls right into the perfect line, because there had been question about why didn't we vote in the budget committee? There was nothing to ever said, there was no precedent ever in back in
And
time.
I really strongly disagree with doing
Yeah.
that at the public meeting.
mean, it's another advisory committee. There, not every committee is put forth at town meeting to
Right,
be.
it does
to be
not make
voted.
sense to me.
So. But there was something they put in draft. We can take a look back at that and see what we want to do with that. And that also establishes how long those terms are. So this is one that didn't have any kind of designated terms.
It was
So,
annual.
yeah.
Because you voted them in every year. It's an annual term.
Yeah, and even that, I checked back with Lynn on that. She said that's only like the past 6 years.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like
So it's not a forever
president
thing.
of 50 years of town meetings.
Yeah.
200 years.
Yeah. My instant preference is back to Lynn.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so
course.
Lynn, when did we do this? No, didn't,
Mhm.
never did, way new, did it once,
Mhm.
you know, or we've always done it. We've even counted several things. There was one thing about voting the Australian ballot method that was being questioned. Yeah, so.
Down on.
Voting by secret ballot. So, you know, when did we enact voting by secret ballot? We enacted voting by secret ballot. The first record I found of that was 1941 or 42. Something close to that. Something close to that. 1941, 42.
I also dislike voting by hand.
Oh, I know.
Like,
Well, I think you get a lot more people when they can just say what they want to say. Write my paper.
yeah,
Say what I want to
no, I agree. I think it's much more non-pressure to vote the way that you,
You don't have
The
to.
raising of the cards, everybody sees what card you're holding.
that freaks me out every time. I'm like,
Yeah, I think it's much more comfortable. People feel more comfortable
yeah.
with anonymity.
Mhm.
You know, I don't have to ever question what the guy 3 rows ahead of me is saying, what my neighbor's saying,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And I think you get better output from that, more honest output.
yeah, yeah, more honest.
So people are relaxed and comfortable. But when we're looking into, is it something called a bifurcated meeting? Bifurcated meeting, you do, if you're gonna have town meeting, you can do certain processes 2 weeks before town meeting. Certain voting and stuff can happen then
Mhm.
and not happen the day of the town meeting.
We love that.
So we're looking into all those, that was something that drove me on election day.
Mhm.
That was election day madness. Like, look at that split down. That's like something in New Hampshire. And they were voting on, articles on a ballot.
Yeah, you do your ballot and you stick it in the
Mhm.
machine and it's good to go.
Written out, the whole thing.
Rather than cards or handwriting and having them have to count right then and there.
Yeah.
Everybody screaming.
I'm trying to keep in my head when folks want, because I looked at election day. And you look at the overwhelming participation in election day. And why? And why? Because we told people they can do absentee voting. We told them they can do in-person early voting. They can show up the same day.
Mhm.
Overwhelming response.
Right, instead of, no, you have to be at this meeting at 6 PM if you
Mhm.
want your vote to count.
And 50 people out of 1,200 show up.
70 minutes.
People
But
who work, people like me, that used to work at 3 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I never was able to make a town meeting.
people that do shift work, people that take care of kids, people that take care of old people, people that are old people that don't necessarily travel outside of a certain time of day.
Mhm.
It's difficult to get in, difficult to get out. Why does their vote count any less?
Right. Mhm.
So trying to put an opportunity in front of people where everything they want to do counts just like everybody else. They have the same opportunity. Some people just can't sit there.
Mhm.
You know, and they want,
Yeah.
I know what I want, I've done research, I've been informed. You know, I mean, we've all seen it. And I think to respect everybody's ability to vote on something, they're trying to see what we can do to make that happen.
No, I love that. It gets more people involved in their town.
Look how it happened election day.
Yeah.
How many people, so out of all the voters we had, how many came in early?
Oh, there was just under 300, there's like 270 some. Absentee ballot,
Out of the whole, how much we had?
we had 770 something.
That's fantastic.
Which is
This is
really good.
This is the third.
500 eligible voters.
Yeah.
But think you had that many people show up
That's
because this was more
Yeah.
convenient. We had somebody on election day call up. But my relative got put rushed into the hospital last night, didn't get a chance to vote. And what's been the story the whole time? Vote if you think something may ever happen to you, or you don't want to miss, vote early. You know, you cut your finger open, you're in the hospital getting stitches, you don't know when you're getting out. I don't want to miss the end of the day. You know, so I gotta run down here like an idiot with a bandaged up finger to go vote. So I'm trying to keep an even playing field for everybody. That's all I got.
That's it.
All right.
All right, our planning board guy left.
Uh,
Age friendly?
Okay, I have a report, and I just want to alert you, we will be, receiving the award for the, Community Connections mini grant, $4,700. So we'll be getting, that's gonna be announced by the governor's office tomorrow at 9 a.m., but I just wanted to give you the heads up. So there's a whole long list of, equipment that Rob put together that will be for use by the parks, whatever. It's gonna be, you know, big speakers, all of them.
Oh, that is so exciting.
Good stuff. It's gonna be good stuff for Sullivan Days, et cetera.
But it's yet another time, the age-friendly Sullivan
Again,
is another,
coming in.
Yeah.
another acknowledgement.
Yeah. So, happy to say that that's happened. I just wanted to talk about, background checks,
Mhm.
because our volunteer transportation program will have background checks. The University of Maine is gonna be doing them for free, so that's gonna be part of that. One of the things that we've always done from the get-go was partner with organizations that did the background checks for us,
Mhm.
and especially if somebody was gonna be going into somebody's home.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, usually if it just, you're gonna be meeting them here on town property, or you're gonna be doing, you know, community event, no big deal. But if you're going into their home to deliver food boxes, if you're going into their home to, you know, give them a ride, if you're going into their home to install, a smoke detector, I mean, those are the kinds of things. I mean, I don't know whether or not our fire department, do they have background checks?
Yes, they do.
They do. So, I mean, that was always the way we looked at it. But now, because we're looking at people who are driving and look at these policies, we want to make sure that, that this is going to be a safe ride for people. So that's, we will be including background check in that. And the rest of that, you can do on your own. Thank you.
And the tree lighting is on the first Sunday.
It is, it's, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh, it's that fast. Like,
June.
oh,
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes, we'll take down the tree on Thanksgiving and we'll put up the tree Thursday night. It is, man. So it's gonna be, as usual, please note, we scratched it down from 3 to 5 to 4 to 5. So that's just an hour, so that people aren't standing around getting cold or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, new signs will be going up, maybe even tomorrow, just to alert people.
Yeah, actually, people were wondering. I asked just the other day to Bet, I said, when is our tree lighting?
Yeah.
Okay.
First Sunday.
Haven't eaten turkey yet, but when's the tree lighting?
Right, good lighting's up then. All right, and budget committee, do we have anybody?
Not like I said, budget committee,
Gary,
resigned. And I'm looking to get them started back in January. I'm gonna give this a run, a whole full run before, instead of doing a individual line by line product, I'm gonna try and have something full available. We can work on together. Paper.
So in January, you'll set out, or somebody will set out criteria for membership.
Oh, before that, we'll do membership.
Okay,
Yeah. No, an actual budget committee function.
got it.
Yeah. that-
I'm assuming, Gary's still doing cemetery committee.
Yes.
Are you with
Has
us?
he,
No, he's not here.
has he found the sex?
Are you with us?
He has.
Cemetery committee, are you with us?
Wow. Okay, we went there. Yes, they have had a sexton. I'll try to have them here for the next meeting to do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So that's all time to get that wrong.
Or Aaron and me.
That's communications.
Yep, I bet
And-
speak on that.
we've been meeting in between choir because our meetings are so late in the month and sometimes the choir gets put out some. And so, she and I met twice this month. Once informally to put the summer choir together. There has been some changes to that, and I should have brought a copy in, but I did not. It's instead of going read this way, it's actually more like a digest format. How I explain it, so it's a half page going this way. And it's this way has actually reduced whole pages out of the whole edition to cut down on some.
It's nice.
And it looks really good, and we've changed some other things around, because we've heard rumors of people going into the post office and seeing it when it was sent out in mass, a lot of it being thrown in the trash. And so I got thinking about it.
Because that's the goal of this issue, is to mail it out. A mail.
So it's kind of,
Since the format has changed, one thing hasn't changed, you look in the middle, full-size calendar.
but it's got the closest thing on this side. Instead of having just like little ads for the coming events, I've actually put the front page, or half the front page on the outside, so people actually know where it is. I don't know, it might work.
Not just junk mail.
And we got your email about the sizing for the font, so we're gonna
Yeah.
look at that next time as well.
Most of it is 12 font.
Yeah.
But some of it's not, depends how big the article is,
Right.
I kind of agree, it could be,
but,
Oh, my concern was sometimes it would, maybe it was a letter from, the superintendent, or maybe it
and it was
was
tiny.
tiny
Yeah.
little things,
Yeah.
you know, so it's just, right. Kind
yeah,
of,
just trying to put them on one page, sometimes it's difficult. And, it might be something that they might consider looking about how worried their
Yeah, well,
submission might be.
even if we say to them, it needs to be size 14, then they'll just cut it down.
So.
Not our problem, it's their problem.
We set up requirements.
Yeah,
Here's what I need. Here's your space, here's your font size.
right.
How about it?
And people have come to us about advertising in the choir, and we decided still not to do that because it's very hard to keep track as to who's paid, and to track them down for payment and stuff, because people were not paying.
Right.
For prior times. The other thing we discussed is about trying to get more people interested in the comprehensive plan. And trying to figure out how to promote that people would be interested. And for some reason, people don't seem to be aware of what's going on, or lack of interest. Try to be polite. And so, we thought about utilizing the text my gov a little bit more too, that we should be doing. We actually had an email from them today.
Are you even using our program?
Yeah, it was, hey, let's check in, let's talk about stuff.
Yeah, so that was the main things we discussed.
Yeah. To be honest, like, I understand that we understand what a comprehensive plan is, but there are people in this town that don't even know what the word comprehensive plan means.
That's why I started putting in the prior.
Don't mean to be degrading in any way, but people have no idea what it means.
They're not familiar with
Yeah.
How important it is.
So,
Well, they're making up stories about what it is.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand what it is.
Right.
That's important.
yeah.
That's a good segue into comprehensive.
Hey, so we had our, I wouldn't say last in-person engagement, but the last of the series of in-person engagements about transportation and recreation. Went pretty well, a lot of good input on that. You know, talking about the language in the chapters and goals and everything, goals and objectives, and really got a lot of good feedback. And even if it's just to the point of mincing words and getting the semantics of things a little different. So, you know, I see what you're saying, but when somebody else reads it, when the whole town reads it, we want to bring them down this path. How can we bring them all? We know what we want, let's say it.
It really needs to be user-friendly language.
It needs to be comprehensive.
Yeah. And just, so, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
know
it
what
just-
buzzwords people. It
Well, and that
means
that
something.
that buzzword ends up being the next meeting, which will be in March. Haven't got a hard date on it yet, but in March, talking about land use. future
That
land
was
use.
Saturday instead of a Sunday.
I don't know, Wednesday, I think there was.
Yeah, I'm not
On
sure
Wednesday?
exactly. No, I'm not sure exactly.
Okay, that's what I
I'm
heard.
not sure exactly. That's why it's not solid. Because there's a lot of banging around. Super Bowl got in the way,
Yeah, I missed the last one.
you know, so, but,
The church stuff.
but we want to have that for future land use. Because if you're looking at a comprehensive plan for 10 years out, a 2035 plan, how you use the land, you know, everyone has said, Dollar General, the first thing people pop out of their head is about land use. How do you make it not happen? How do you protect the areas that you love the most? I love the historic area of here. How do you make sure that stays that way? You know, it's all those things. It doesn't have to be, we're telling people what they can't do. We're ensuring people what they can do in the places that they love about the town. People want to keep the charm and the nature of the town in certain areas. Yes, this is the way to do that. But here's a little pocket where you could talk about, you could have growth, you could have something that changes, but to make it definitive. My favorite example was, well, where do you live? Great. I'm gonna buy your neighbor's property. I'm gonna put a McDonald's right next to your house. Hope you like fries. What? Because there's nothing that says I can't. There's nothing in any, right? No, there's no land use anything that says I can't do that. I hope you don't mind the drive-through, but we shut it down at 10. You know. Extra salt we got here already in order, but that's the thing. So how do you protect these things from not happening? You know? So, or it's just,
How do you make sure that they happen in a sustainable, recognizable way?
Right, like we're using the
it's not-
Dollar General,
Yeah.
you saw, didn't even look like Dollar General.
right.
Yeah.
It's-
but putting the simple language in for, you go to Freeport and you look at the McDonald's that's there.
Yeah, it's a house.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that's McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should be made to fit in. It should be cutesy. It should do it, but you gotta write it down.
Mhm,
If you don't write it down, you get the box.
mhm.
If you write it down, you get something that looks like something different, that looks like a belongs there. Oh, they built a Dollar General into this house? No, it's a new building. Oh. Yeah. All about the words, all about the language. That's a part that does freak people out. But you have to put it in the right context. So they understand. So that's more.
All right, so Parks and Rec, is that what Bonnie's here for?
That's what Bonnie's here for.
Hey, Bonnie.
Hey, how you
Well-
doing? So the minutes have been posted from the last meeting. However, a couple of things I want you to know that as a result of having a new committee member, Kimberly Brooks, we're kind of taking a project management approach to our variety of projects we've mentioned over the last year and a half. She's pulling that all together on a spreadsheet for us, and we're kind of assigning priorities and pre-approval processes in terms of, do we go forward with this? Is it feasible? Those of you who've worked on project management systems or project management style before are aware of those steps, and we're pretty excited about that, and really glad that she's joined the committee. I have been asked by the committee to ask the select board to add to your bid process when you go out to bid for the bush hog work, to add the side of the park, so the playground area between the fence and the neighbor. I believe at one end there's about 30 feet. The other end, it might be a little narrower. We would like to have that, right now, I mean, not only does it need to be bush hog, there's trees that need to be cut down there. The goal would be to see that get to a place at least 20 feet of it where it can be bush hogged and or preferably mowed on a yearly basis. But for right now, we'd like, we're requesting that the select board approve adding that part of the property to your bid for bush hogging. I believe I don't know this for sure, but I believe the playground area already is included in the mowing. But I'm not sure that it's included in the bush hogging that you've asked, that you do for like the sides of the roads and whatnot.
No.
But we'll write it in.
Yeah, it would
It's
be
not
great.
in now, but we'll make it so, and now that we know the exact boundaries of all that,
Correct.
you know, we can make sure that,
It's
because
true.
we were under a little, it's like, oh, it ends here. No, it doesn't. We woke up to realize
Right,
that.
yeah. Yeah,
So now we
the
know our
other,
exact boundaries, and we're good.
the other piece, and like I said, the long-term goal would be, because right now I don't know, Ray, that you can actually go right in there and bush hog.
No,
Especially towards the front, there's quite a few, I won't say quite a few, there are trees that need to be cut down, not right up against the border, the boundary line, but at least within 15 to 20 feet of the playground area proper. The woods is really encroaching on the children's playground area. So it would be nice to take care of that. And the goal over 5 or 6 years, obviously, would be to get to a place where it could be bush hogged annually, and or maybe even get to the point where it can be mowed regularly. The other question is about the area on the other side that's between the Sullivan Sorrento Recreation Center and the playground area itself. And that is the area that's been recently dug up for the culvert. The culvert was cleaned out there and whatnot. Is that going to be seeded? I know that we are looking and keeping our fingers crossed that we would be considered for the byway grant. However, that's several years out. And right now, my guess is, given the work that's been done there, that's just going to be icky dirt, and maybe even a little bit of a dust bowl. Is there a plan to seed it? So it's at least a little bit of green space. And we do own that property as I understand it. The 210-foot line, so when you look at the survey and I forget the term you call that, the little map that goes with the survey map, whatever it's called. So from one corner over where the playground is, so it's like 30 feet from the sideline to the playground fence, and from the playground fence going over to the rec center. From that fence to the rec center is 210 feet. It takes you right out to where that culvert was worked on. And behind that, that's property that's owned under the playground, the children's playground in Town of Sorrento, deed. So the question is, what's it gonna look like for the next few years as we hope we get the funding from the byway? But I don't think we really want it to look like a dust bowl out there.
Crabgrass,
Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
crabgrass will take it over in no time.
Oh, wonderful. That'll look really pretty, very inviting.
Well, we could sprinkle some dandelions in there.
oh, the crabgrass and dandelions, beautiful. Put some daisies, we're good to go. Little bag of wildflower seed.
Yeah, just something to be considered, because it's as just a brown, dirt area, it's not particularly inviting, and it would be nice to see some green, just some green there.
Absolutely. Well, I think you planted a seed.
Planted a seed, there we go. Go again.
I think that's it from the Parks and Recs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As a side note to Parks and Rec, I had taken that playground inspector class last week. That was like Well, I can equate it to not having a driver's license and taking your CDL in 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what it was
so it's
like.
Overwhelming.
It was like, here's these 5 phone books worth of information.
Mhm.
I hope you know it on Friday for the test.
Like the MMA course.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like,
I don't think I
yeah, just insane. So, but to know the basics of what we need, what we should have, all the safety end of it, I think that'll help us like a lot in the long run.
So are you
Yeah.
our safety playground?
Even if I don't pass the state inspector test,
Yeah.
I know all the stuff they have to do.
Yeah.
And I spoke with Gary Edwards because he says, "Oh, yeah, we used to that." He says, Gene and Eleanor Ritchie would go down, and they would pick up the trash, and Clint would go down once a month, and he would check every nut and bolt on the thing. So you get records. He goes, "No, we just did it." But within the stuff that I got from them, they gave a flash, it looks like a fat business card. In this flash drive business card, there's forms for inspection. There's forms for if someone gets hurt. There's like, oh, this is good. Take it, adapt to all of our equipment.
Mhm.
Knowing all this stuff, we can keep a compliance of a standard playground and know where we should be in replacing things. And, plastic lasts this long, wood lasts this long, make sure you check the swings for that. The example pictures they showed were ridiculous. There was one where they had a little playground and the birds were coming in and pecking the kids, so they put up a net over the playground. Yeah, but you had a climbing element to be on, and the net kind of swooped over the kids, so you couldn't do do that. And one of the support poles for this net was at the end of the slide.
Oh,
Hope you go left, Timmy, because you're gonna hit the slide if you go a little right. Like, what? How did this happen? So, just a little crazy, but we don't have anything like that. And we do have all the records of our equipment because it was bought, most of it was bought new. So we should be good going forward. And
What about the skate park? There's an email that had gone out, somebody had done an inspection on it and said that we were close to expiration on that equipment.
What?
You didn't get that email? I got that email. It was
I did
like,
too.
close to expiration of that equipment,
yeah, so what are your plans to fix it? Oh, I didn't know it expired.
it's metal equipment. It's steel.
No, the skate park.
Skate park is steel.
It's
The
steel and
ramps,
wood.
the things and steel. Or they
It's
find
the steel structures all through there, but I did see something. That's the guy looking that he's been trying to sell equipment to us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He's been trying to sell equipment. I spoke to him because there's
Like $100,000.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
We don't have enough skaters to support that.
So I had spoken to him for a while on the phone because I kept getting the emails. I was like, I'm just gonna talk to this guy once. And we were talking about things, and because he gets involved because the company that made that is out of business, so they must have got all the contacts from.
Mhm.
So they're reaching out to people. So I mentioned to him because Bill Procco on Parks and Rec has been talking about a half pipe and a pump track. I said, so, just entertain me. What does this cost? $150,000.
Yeah, $100,000, yeah.
I was like, really? I said, because we're looking at it, we buy stuff from somebody else, it's like $20,000, and that we thought was high. I said, and we're looking at what can we do for a volunteer effort, and all I gotta do is get plans, and I can build it from the 10. I said, 150, I really can't see going for that.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for your time.
Mhm.
Now he's hitting you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's good.
Okay.
That's what.
That's where we're at. All right, now we're up to public comment.
Bonnie's asked me to write a couple of grants for the state park. There's the community, action, grant for 10 grand. And there's the, Maine Community Foundation grant for 10 grand that are both due mid-February. So we'll need to have a plan if you want me to do that.
There's already a visual plan.
I've seen that. I'm gonna need to know expenses.
Yeah.
And
That shouldn't be, that's lumber. I think Bill had a breakdown of lumber.
So I wasn't getting into the skate park, because I know that Ray's been looking at it and as has Bill, but clearly the skate park is of issue. We are interested in improving the skate park. It could potentially require a lot of money, but if we can work with the Maine Municipal Association, if we can find some people to design it and have that those folks who do design and work with the Maine Municipal to be reasonable about how it's designed and approving it, then we could move forward with a plan that's certainly way less expensive. So, and Bill Parco has put together truly a nice plan. What you just referenced, Ray, at costing $50,000 was actually only half of what the plan he put together. We do have specifics about costs under Bill's quote. I think I rounded it up to about $10,000, and the labor was donated. There's he and a couple of other friends of his who are really into skateboarding, who are contractors, are willing to volunteer their time. So clearly what we need to be able to figure out is, okay, what can we do and have it built in a way that's it can be approved by MMA and covered by our insurance. The flip side of that is if we are to do nothing, if we are want to take no risk on a skate park, then we as a town need to think about that whole front of that playground area and what we do with it and what it looks like, especially if we don't move forward and really invest in a skate park. What is that area going to look like if in fact we get the byway grant? And the very front of that area is our skate park that we have done nothing with. So, I mean, it clearly is a bit of a priority for the Parks and Rec committee. I think that the majority of the committee is really interested in improving the skate park, but we're trying to figure out these pieces around who has to design it, who has to sign off on the design, what is feasible. And I know that Ray's been researching it at this point, and you know, if in fact, and Candy and I have discussed it, can we use a grant to help push that forward a bit. The Parks and Rec committee is committed. If we can, with the select board, say, yeah, we want to move forward with this, then we're willing to do the fundraising to help bring it over the top. So I think in the next month or so, with Ray's newfound knowledge, I know that, and I know that Bill's is trying to reach out to an engineer, and he's also connected with another person in the community who has a friend who's done skate parks. So hopefully we're gonna have some information that we can chew on and move forward with.
All we need to satisfy MMA is engineered plans. Someone that holds a seal to draw plans, to design something. They said you have engineered plans, you build to the plans, you document, you build with volunteers, you can build with volunteers, document your whole thing, you're good. So that's our path to volunteering, is a set of engineered plans.
So someone will meet with you to get you what you need for the grant. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Any other public comment?
Well, Ray, did you have me did you have me scheduled?
Public comment.
Public comment.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sent me a thing saying I was in violation. Well, first of all, I have that, he filed that lawsuit against me and all that kind of stuff.
And, I agreed to do a survey and I did all that and it came back, there were no violations or anything like that. Just nothing at all there. And, there was one other thing that I said I would get a permit by rule permit. And I got that way like 2 years ago. And,
Who's
and
your
he's
survey from that said that you did no harm?
Ed Perry,
What is his title?
surveyor.
Just surveyor, okay.
And well, he also went through all the permits too. And, he got the permits and looked through them and checked that was, you know, the work was conformed to the permits and stuff. And that was just one of the things Gerber said, I didn't even get permits and stuff like that. And so, this PBR thing, so I got that way before this all even started. And he sent me a notice saying I was in violation of the thing. I have, yeah.
No, I'll give it to them.
Okay.
The Lord.
So, I filed a appeal to the select board on that. And really the only thing that, is an issue, is, you know, Greg, you probably get these permit by rules, you know about those?
I heard.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I mean, basically what it is, you file it with the DEP and they have 14 days to say, yes or no. And if they just don't do any action, then it automatically comes into force. And, so I put the rule, in here. I put the section of where the rule is, that, you know, PB comes effective. It's on the second page. And I have the receipt from the DEP from November 23rd, 2022, acknowledging receipt. And that's all that's required for it to become valid. Just, that you submitted it and that they didn't file any objection.
And you're saying that DEP filed no objection?
Right, yeah. And then, so I actually just found this out today. The thing that DEP, he claims, he in this, one of the things in there is that, you know, his, notice of violation that he sent me. One of the things in there is he said that they, there was a bunch of things they objected to and stuff. And I've been trying to, you know, they've been doing you know, I asked him to do the DEP to do an investigation on that, see where all that came from and stuff. And I just got this thing today, which, you know, it came from Dirtler. He sent them this, it's one of the things I just put in there, an email that I got from him. And he had,
Now, this is about the road access, right? Is that
no,
what I'm reading?
no, it's just about, it's about the wharf. That wharf down there
Mhm.
on,
Like the road to the wharf or just the wharf itself?
it's, well, it's kind of all one thing. It just, everything was in the permit, just, and so he sent them, this letter claiming that I had, that it wasn't a wharf before and that I had filled it with gravel, and just various different things like that. He kept the secret from me. He never even told me about this. I got it from the DEP by filing the Freedom of Information Act. And all that's just, he knew it was false because, on the permit, the original permit that I got, when Rebecca Albright was the code enforcement officer, I went through all that stuff before I ever did anything and agreed what rules I was going to follow and what I was going to do down there. And it's listed on the planned site work. I mean, all that stuff, you know, putting gravel on the ramp and putting, you know, putting gravel on the road. I agreed with all that and I put it in. And then, Gertler wrote that thing to the DEP saying, well, I did all that. There was no wharf there. And there's another thing in there that said I brought in riprap, you know, giant, riprap is like giant stones. That I brought in and filled in the wharf or something. That's the one thing they objected to in when in the permit thing. And obviously not true. And I had Ed Perry also go down and survey it, because he had done a survey before and a survey after. And he said in the notes, and I copied the notes on one of the pages there, that that I had not expanded the wharf or did anything to it. And, you know, on this thing, like notes 10 on there. So he surveyed it and said that I didn't do any of that. And so I mean, you know, I have that I have the permit by rule, because all you need to do is file it and not be objected to. And then just everything in that complaint, there's nothing in there that was ever even they're now that's the last thing that he was claiming that I violated, that I didn't do that permit by rule. Everything else was, the survey covered it, said there was never any violation, and that's the last thing. And then he filed, you know, saying that I violated this agreement, his thing, and I filed an appeal to the select board to contradict that. But there's just that one thing. It's whether I have, I mean, I can go over all this other stuff at some other time, but the one thing at issue is if I have that permit by rule, the rules are there, and the verification that DEP got it is there, and that's all that's required for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Do any good if Mike was here to defend himself?
I'm sure he would say a lot of different things. I mean, I think he sent Ray an email, some stuff, but you know, they're not even, he's not even claiming that there was ever any violation now. So there's just, the last thing is that permit by rule thing, and he sent the stuff to the DEP, which is false. You know, it's false because it's in the permit, and you can tell it's false because Ed Perry surveyed the wharf and he said it's not true. You know, he measured it. It's in the notes on the survey.
All right, so he's saying you didn't get the permit by rule, you're saying you got the permit by rule.
Yeah.
And his big objection is you added fill to. Oh,
yeah, that's what he
what may or may not be a wharf.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a wharf. I mean, it's a wharf on the deed. It's on the deed. It was permitted by the city back in 1880 or whenever.
I know his neighbors are in severe
And, you know, it was a wharf when I agreed with Rebecca what the rules I was gonna follow there, and it's called a wharf on the permit. And that's the maintenance rules for wharf is what we agreed that I was gonna follow. Ed Perry confirms that it's a wharf. And it's just, and Gertler has never even saw it beforehand. I mean, he wasn't even ever there beforehand to even know. And he claimed all this stuff like it was in this dilapidate, it wasn't being used and all that stuff. And the previous owners kept the boat down there, you know.
Best of my knowledge, there hasn't been a change in site plan or site use for that property, right?
No, I mean, it's the wharf was the main feature of the land. It's the reason anybody would buy it. I mean, if you guys have been down there, you know what it is. And it's on the deed. It's you know, it's just what the thing was used for. I mean, it's the reason I bought it. You know, the wharf was there and I wanted to, you know, fix it up, use it,
Mhm.
which I got a permit to do that. And, you know,
Then you got neighbors that split it like 13 ways.
yeah, the rest of it's all, the other part of it's not, yeah, the neighbors, it's split in a lot of ways and then the whole thing, why this started is because Roger Wakefield and this guy called Gary Hunt came over there and they, with Rebecca and he was, you know, Roger Wakefield was the one that came up with all these things that are violations and they're not
He
really.
should have refused to.
They're,
He was
the reason that
acting in his own interest.
the reason that he had, that I needed to I never even needed to get a permit by rule, because it was all covered by maintenance. And I put those rules in there, but the reason that Roger Wakefield said that he had to get a permit by rule for something in the past, and so I needed to get, that's why they put that on. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. You know, I feel like we should put a hold on this violation until we can talk to Mike. I make a motion to put a hold on this notice of violation until we can talk to code enforcement.
Second.
All in favor? So passed. Thank you, Emily. Any other public comments? Hearing none. Board comments? Nope. Let's move to executive session 1 MS 408 405 6.
So with this, let me know, I am pausing the video.
Okay, we're back in session. We voted 3-0 to allow the permit. And now I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much.